Hi, folks. If you didn't make it this morning, you're missing a good one. We are stacked up with fisher persons all over the place. Especially we got a special guest, Chad Champagne, and relatives of our Lake Contemplate, ready to go, how to do it. We got fishermen from everywhere. A lot of people was first time.
Hey, wait! So what are you fishing? Oh, no,
and if that wasn't his main business, like I said, he owned a jewelry store, so he might not have wanted to put the capital in it. Because if you're making this stuff one at a time and buying 100 bags and sticking a label on there, at the end, there's no money after that. You have to invest a lot of capital in it for it to have a chance, you know. And this is a very risky business to be in. Trust me, I was broke for a long, long time. If I tried to do this now with these two money hogs, I would be completely broke. Yeah, right. Y'all are paying for y'all's own weddings.
Both on a boat.
Yeah. But she was just in the Martian Bayou magazine. She's got that with her, so she's wanting to show that to everybody.
If y'all want autographs, she'll autograph it for you.
Yeah, they have the Martian Bayou here, but it's the old copy. I was hoping they had the new one she could autograph it. Show everybody. Oh, so this kind of goes with wintertime fishing too. And there's a little article in here. In the wintertime in Eden Isles, it's a lot of different canals that have potential. I'd say the best one is the mouth of Dudley's Canal. If you guys know where Dudley lives, the mouth of it, which is kind of close to the little Clipper Bridge, the white trout will stack up. How many were we catching today I brought you? Was it every? Moonraker Lake's got a lot of fish, but it's humongous, and I am not the person to ask on it. It's a good place if you live on Moonraker Lake and you want to troll around and catch 5. That's kind of what you're looking for. You catch 5 or 10 fish out of Moonraker, you did good. But if you live right there, that's great. And that's the kind of stuff you want to look at in the dead of the winter, because the lake's going to be gross after this storm. Moonraker will be gin clear. Lakeshore Estates will be gin clear. Higgins Canal will probably be pretty clean. The Mr. Go's bulletproof when it comes to weather. That'll be clean. The back of the Michoud Slip, that's a good wintertime area. And you know, some years, Lakeshore 1, which is like what we call the one next to the Twin Span, is excellent. Some years it's the second Lakeshore is better. The new Lakeshore that you get to off of Salt Bayou past Ron's house, that one, my best day ever in there is probably 20 trout and 4 reds by myself, something like that. But it's always a good, decent place to fish, you know.
I've never caught any trout in there. I've caught redfish.
It's got it's got its moments. It's very inconsistent. But if you go out there and it's 20-mile-an-hour winds and you want to go, the shorelines in there are this tall, so you don't feel anything. So I love going back. You never see a boat. The redfish, you're going to catch them better throwing up at the bank and dribbling it down the shoreline. Trout, you're always going to do better this time of year, getting in about 15 to 25 foot of water. Look at your graph big time. That is huge this time of year. This is the only time I really pay attention to my depth finder a lot. And trolling is phenomenal. Like trolling, I know some people hate it, and it is an art to it. I've learned a lot about it in the last 7 or 8 years. But it is an extremely important tool to have in your arsenal between November and February, especially January and February. When you're only catching 10 or 15 a day, you can go out there and make 10,000 casts and get 6 or 7, or just sit back and relax and watch the poles go down and get 10 or 12 fish. I don't mind. I'll be doing business on my phone, and I look back and one of the poles is folded over, and I'm like, oh, hold on, let me go turn the trolling motor off. And when you troll, you want to go anywhere from 1.5 to 2.2 miles an hour. That's your sweet spot. 1.7, 1.8 is pretty much common. And you want to be looking at 12 to 25 foot. When they get that 20 foot, you got to have some type of lead line to get the lure down, which Gus has all of the lead line. That trolling rig Gus sells is phenomenal. That's perfect. What I do is just use my regular bait casters, and I just tie a uni knot from my mono or whatever, and just put from here to maybe the back window, maybe here to the front door of the lead line, and then tie a fluoro leader to that. So I just have a little piece that helps get it down.
Do you use mono or braid?
Alright, so mono always, if the water's dirty or I'm red fishing. Always mono. When the lake is good, if you ever notice, when the lake's really good, the water's gently. Like, you can see, 3-4 foot down for the last 3 months, you better have fluorocarbon now. When I was growing up, it didn't matter. Nowadays, there's so many anglers, and there's so many good anglers out there now. Fluorocarbon, everybody's like, what color are you using? Forget the color. What kind of line do you have on? Fluorocarbon, when you can see 3 foot down, is very important. Very important. I use them little bitty 70 bait casters, so they barely hold any line. So I just use the whole spool of fluoro. Fluoro is very expensive. A lot of people use braid now, which is fine. Just put the fluoro leader on the end. That's all you got to do. And then I use braid on my spinning reels, which I pretty much just throw a popping cork with. Because braid, you can cast it to the moon. It's very thin and all of that.
Do you ever, I know you troll Lakeshore. Do you ever troll even in Oak Harbor?
Oh, yeah. Right there. That's how we found the
I live back in Oak Harbor. There's this old man. I don't even know who he is. He's in an old flatboat, and he's there every winter.
Way in the back or what?
Yeah, I live back in Oak. Way in the back.
Yeah, all right. So a good spot in the back of Oak Harbor is that big lagoon that runs up against the.
That's where I live.
All right. So that's a good spot. Like, are you gonna catch 30? No. You gonna catch 7? Very likely.
And actually, where the canal, I live on the canal where it runs
That goes to it. That canal's good.
But right where that canal hits the lagoon,
Correct.
it gets about 25, 30 feet.
That's
right.
right. That's right. So that's what you're looking for. It's like the canal might be 12 to 16, and when it drops to the 30, you'll see them on the left. That's the kind of stuff. That lagoon's beautiful. If that lagoon was closer to the lake, you would have 20, 30 boats in there all the time, like Lakeshore gets. You know, like when Lakeshore's popping, there'll be 20 boats in there.
About Highway 90.
It's more dead end, stagnant water becomes warmer. So they're not. Can you catch them on that bridge like this week? Maybe, I don't know. But that's more of like a June, July, August, September thing when water temperatures are in the 80s. They want deep, cool water. That's not like, you don't always want deep water because it's cold. You want deep, stagnant water. Dead-end canals, man-made canals, stuff that's dug out, you know. I wouldn't recommend fishing the 90 Bridge or L&N during that time of year. Plus, the Pearl River really dictates L&N and all of that. L&N's always the best when the river's low, and the river's always lowest July, August, September, October. That's your lowest Pearl River months. The Pearl River dictates our fishery way more than the Mississippi River does. Now, if they pop the spillway open, now that's a different take. But in my opinion, I would rather a light spillway opening than the Pearl being flooded for 3 months. I hate when the Pearl's flooded, man, it really hurts us bad. And that thing floods every year now.
Any other questions?
Just out of curiosity, the Green Hornet, has that always been a glow in the dark? I happened to come home late one time last year and stuck it, the pole, I left it in my kitchen. I turned the light on, I said, what the hell was that glow?
And it's glowing, yeah, it has, yeah. We got multiple manufacturers, and I have to answer this call all the time. If you got a lure from 2 different manufacturers on the table, the human eye can see the difference. So they call me like, hey, I got this other one, I only catch him on this other one. I'm like, okay, man. And I just mail him whatever one he wants. You know? But when you got multiple manufacturers, it's hard to get it identical.
Right.
But yeah, it's been glow forever.
I didn't know if I just never noticed it before.
Yeah, well, you got to have them lights shut off.
Yeah,
if you get our glow matrix and shut it in the closet door, you can read a newspaper with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was it. I had like 3 poles, and I got in late, and I left them in the kitchen as opposed to putting them away. And when I went to go to bed, I turned the kitchen.
Who had a Coke and water? Who wanted Coke and
Where
water?
did that come from?
Right. No,
Anybody want iced tea?
we got so many colors, I forget what all's got glow in it. But I know that glowing, I've looked at it in the closet, that thing, it's as green and neon as it gets.
Yeah,
It's
I looked at
interesting
that,
how
I'm
that
like,
works.
okay, now I know why it works so good.
Right, for sure. I mean, when you're talking 12, 20 foot of water, man, it's probably, I don't know how much sunlight gets down there, so that thing probably lights up like a Christmas tree, you
What
know?
about the limbo slices that have been glued?
I like, no, that's just, that's a hard chartreuse and a real, hard blue.
That's been my best one this year.
That's a good one, man. If I was, like I was gonna say, if I was gonna critique what lures to use and what situations, I guess, like I said, I don't believe in this that much, but if the water's real stained, and the only thing we really do well with in stained water is redfish, you want hard contrasting colors like a dark purple and a chartreuse, or like limbo, like he's talking about a hard blue. You want it to, when you drop it in the water, it's still, you can see it, because if it's pretty dirty and you put a clear lure in there, like Magneto, Shrimp Creole, it's gonna disappear pretty quick. That's just my eyes looking at it. What the fish sees, their eyes are probably acclimated to that dirty water anyway. That's why I'm like, I don't think lure color really matters. But I find myself using more opaque colors when it's gin clear, and more contrasting colors when it's dirty and stained. But again, don't worry about all this. Don't be the guy sitting spotlight, changing lures 4 times and thinking they're gonna match. I got a bunch of them.
But I was just saying, I think this is the first time I've heard you mention limbo slices.
Yeah, I don't
in a long
use it that much.
No,
I don't know why.
because back when you first started, the big ones were limbo slice and lemon head. And I
Yeah.
guess that's probably for your first couple of colors. I
Well,
guess.
yeah, so lemon-head, shrimp creole, and green hornet outsell everything else. The reason why was the very first play, the reefs in front of Lacombe. If it's early in the year, that whole Goose Point, Bayou Liberty shoreline, like September, October. The 3 bridges, not just the trestle, Highway 11 and the Twin Span. The South Shoreline by Irish Bayou, between the Irish Bayou and the Chef, that's an excellent area. Bayou Cedar, that's Little Cedar, Big Cedar, that's a great zone. Obviously the Hospital Wall. When you hear about the Hospital Wall, it's usually not the actual wall. It's the pilings off the wall. It's all of them abandoned camp pilings, or they'll be off off the end of those runways. That's just a channel that comes through. It's a big suction zone. So when you get a falling tide, all of the water from the lake is getting sucked into the Wrigley's, and that's just like a main area for them to be in. The Treasure Isle Point, we call that Doc's Point, because Dr. Weiss won a boat there. That's an excellent place. Right there by Ron's house, at the tip of that Salt Bayou Jetty, that can be a place. And a lot of these spots I'm saying, you just pull up and catch 5 or 6, and then that's it. This isn't Venice where you just spot lock it and catch 50. Like, you gotta bounce around and do other things. And I'm the type, when the trestle gets real hot, I'd rather be bouncing around on my own without having a million boats around and catch 12 or 15 than go into the trestle with 300 people and catch 30. Is the trestle the best spot in the lake? Probably so. But if you want some peace and serenity, get off on it. And that's due to a lot of us making YouTube videos and magazine articles and all of that, you know. But, you know, like Stanley says, man, like, what's the point of having all this knowledge? At the end of the day, you pass it on to somebody sooner or later, you know, and that's really the whole point of getting it and doing it. All of this was taught to me, and then I just perfected it as my years go by, you know. And I've learned several things on my complete own that I didn't know were there, but for the most part, I was shown all of this, you know, and at least how to approach it and what to look for. Any other questions? All right.
Good job. Thank you, Chad. Thank you.
This week I caught my personal best, which was a 5.22 pounder.
Nice.
And then yesterday Ron and I went and we caught a couple of 4-pounders. And so we're going to show you a video right now, and then later I'll give a little talk about it, okay?
Okay, great.
All right, folks, we're in the eating mode right now. We're watching the trip that Rudy and Ronnie had, and everybody's just sitting back, eating, having fun.